Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes. Welcome to the show.
Here we are. Good morning.
Good morning. And today we're going to talk about contracts and those contract terms that help you win multiple offer situations.
Yeah, and as we're talking about off air, we've talked about it over and over and over. It's relevant.
Yeah.
Because it's still happening, and it's happening more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Back a year or so ago, we'd see, I would say maybe 25% of the situations I was involved with were multiple offers. Now, I'm going to say it's probably 75% of the transactions that I personally am involved with are in multiple offers. I have buyers that I have written offers for that they've not won multiple times. Now, I'm admitting a failure, right? What can I say? We write the best offer we can for what the client would like to do, and we're not winning. Mm-hmm. So, the things that we're going to talk about today, these are things that I'm advising buyers on, and they're making that decision if they choose to or not. But in general, I'm going to say that offers here are going between 10 and 15% above list price. Assuming the house is priced properly, right, based on the comps that are out there, houses are selling between 10 and 15% above list price. So if a house hits the market day one, and you come in and say, well, I want to write an offer at list price, you're probably not going to win that offer.
No.
Which is terrible.
I know.
It is, because back pre all this stuff, you know what, list price was not the starting point, it was going to be the finishing point, generally. Now today, list price is the low level. Yeah. It's the low benchmark, it's not the high. Right?
Yeah, I mean, and so all my life, it's like, all my life I heard adults talk about, like, well, what's that one listed at? 100,000? Offer 98.
Right. And statistically, we were, 3% off. I can remember when I first started, I'm number cruncher, I would crunch the numbers, and on average, things were between 3 and 5% off a list price. Mm-hmm. That's what they were selling for. So the list to sale ratio was 95% or 97%.
Right.
What have we been talking about? Now, this is an average, 99.5 to 100% to 101% of list price. So on average, if things are selling at 99.5% of list price, there's a lot of them going well above list price to keep that percentage that high.
And you're talking like 10 to 15%. Well, like on a $250,000, $300,000 home.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. On $250,000, it's $25,000.
Yeah.
Right, so there was a lake listing a couple of weeks ago that came on the market at $250,000. I had some clients that wrote an offer at $275,000, no inspections, gave the seller 30 days after closing to do it. They were conventional financing. They were putting 40% down, not putting a small number down, putting 40% down.
That's a lot, yeah.
And they didn't win it.
Wow.
They did not win it. The house actually went for over $3 million.
Wow.
Over $300,000. So, again, the $250,000, they did the, 10% above list price.
Yeah.
And we had a decent offer. No inspections. I mean, that's a huge piece. That's one of the things, one of the strategies we'll talk about, but did not win it. So, as a buyer, be prepared to do some of these things. So, number one, offer above asking price. If it's a brand new listing, don't go in at list price. I mean, all my advice is, if you want to win that house, how bad do you want it? Is essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? It's worth to you what it's worth to you. It's worth to the seller what it's worth to the seller. It's worth to other buyers what it's worth to them.
Yeah.
If that house is not, the one for you, then don't get caught up in the auction mentality and offer more for it than what you're really willing to pay or what you want to pay. So number one, offer over asking price. There's another option out there. We use the escalation clause, where you go in and you say, I want to offer this, but I'm willing to go to this, significantly higher.
Okay.
The escalation addendum. And we have talked about that in the past. From a seller standpoint, the buyer has now told you what their maximum price is. What do I want? I want other offers that drive it up to that maximum price.
Of course you do, yeah.
Right.
I mean, seems like, the response is going, if somebody says, hey, I'll offer you $100,000, but I'll pay up to $120,000. It seems like the seller's just going to turn around and say $120,000.
Right. Now, they have to prove that they've got offers that drove it up to that price.
Okay.
Right. That's what the escalation clause says. But in a market, if you were talking $100,000 home, it's going to hit 120 pretty quickly.
Yeah, right.
It's going to go there.
Yeah.
So waive or manage appraisal contingencies. This is probably the one that I think could potentially, and we've had that show as well, where they added now a clause for us as agents to put in the further conditions, because we have a clause that says the property must appraise at or above purchase price. What we're seeing is buyers putting in clauses in the further conditions that say buyer will pay up to $10,000, $15,000 towards any shortage. So if the property does not appraise, if you've got an accepted offer at 100 and it appraises at 90, and the buyer has got in there, they will pay the $10,000 difference. The buyer's paying $10,000 extra. The bank is only going to loan them on the appraised value.
Right, exactly.
They're going to loan them on 90. So if there's an appraisal, we're seeing those clauses. That's one of the bigger pieces that's jumped in there.
All right.
And
now we do have to take a break. So
oh no, man, I'm getting wound up.
I know, yeah, it's going by fast. So got to take a break, but yeah, we're going to talk about more about this contract terms that win multiple offer situations. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm your host, Woody Zimmerman, here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes, and we're talking about contract terms that win multiple offer situations, which multiple offer situations are happening all the time right now.
All the time, and as a buyer, you need to be prepared for them. Look, it is not, it's no negative for you, or I guess it is, you didn't win it, but it's no negative on you as a person if you don't win it, right? Write the best offer for you. That's what I advise buyers all the time. I love to win.
Yes.
I don't want to waste my time writing an offer if I don't think we're going to get it, but my responsibility is to write that offer. And I'm going to give you my opinion as we go, but I get asked, well, what should I offer? And people have that perception the agent dictates what we offer. No, we don't. My answer to them is, what do you want to offer? Here's the situation. This show, multiple offers, things are selling 10 to 15% above list price. The next thing, cash offers. How do you compete with a cash offer? You can't do that, right? If you're financing, you can only do what you can do.
Right.
But as a buyer, my job is to advise you on the things that will help you win that transaction.
Sure.
To get the house, but it's your call. If you don't want to take my advice, that's fine.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, you're signing the contract, I'm not.
Yeah.
You're buying the house, I'm not. I'm not paying for that house, you are. So what are you willing to do in order to get that house? Is this the one for you?
Yeah.
So, the other thing we're seeing then is cash offers. A lot of them. I don't know where the cash is coming from.
I know. I mean.
I don't. We're seeing cash. And I closed one last week. They wrote $25,000 over list price. And they're paying cash. Now they did do inspections, and the seller had to make some repairs. But $25,000 over. My advice to a seller is, hey, we've done the comps. We know what a fair price is. If you close for $1 above what that was, bonus to you.
Yeah, right.
Now some people don't necessarily have that. Well, Mark, you need to make sure that the seller gets the maximum. Well, I also need to manage their expectations.
Right.
Because if we go out there and we think that we're going to get multiple offers and we only get one. Now, the world has ended. What's wrong with my house? Did we price it wrong? Right? Well, we probably did. We probably priced it too high.
Yeah.
If that's the case, which they don't want to hear, which a seller doesn't want to hear, but that's the reality in it, because there's a lot of activity all over the board.
Yeah.
So we're seeing more cash offers. We're seeing people waiving inspection contingencies.
Wow.
That is a biggie.
That's pretty daring. I mean, for me.
Absolutely.
That's pretty daring.
Absolutely. And along with that, you're seeing the buying sight unseen.
No.
People are not looking at a house, and they're buying it because they need to get a house. And there's nothing else that's out there that's similar to where they're at. They're going to buy that house. Scary.
That is scary.
Scary. I closed on a house 2 weeks ago, and the seller of that house, we were talking at closing when it was all done.
Yeah.
They were moving to New York State, and they bought a house sight unseen. $500,000 house sight unseen.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that is scary. That is scary. But we have talked about this. Yes. We have talked about, you can do like a Zoom meeting.
You can do virtual tours.
You can do
There's
virtual
a lot of stuff out there.
But you see, for me,
still, I want to see it, feel it, touch it before I pay for it.
My thing is that I always try to visualize can I see me and my family in the front yard playing catch? Can I, what's it like a block away?
Right.
Coming around the corner.
Right.
Do I see myself coming to this property, coming to this home? And so that would be scary for me to buy a sight unseen.
Absolutely, but it's happening.
It's
happening because
the
of the
Munsters
timing.
may live next door.
Herman's going to be
Herman's going to be next door.
You can't unsee Herman in the backyard.
Right,
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So as a buyer, just remember that's one of the options that are out there. Waiving the inspections. So the other thing you can do, or buying it sight unseen, you can do an as-is addendum, which you're telling the seller that you're not going to ask them to make any repairs.
Okay.
Still that's a more safe
method.
It gives you the option to have inspections, but you're letting them know you're not going to beat them up on ticky-tack stuff.
Well, if you know what's wrong, if you know that so there's some minor details that you could take care of. Right. Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Another strategy is paying the seller's closing costs.
Yes.
Right? And I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that to where typically we pay taxes in arrears. So the taxes we're paying now were actually for last year.
Yes.
Okay, so the May installment was for May of 20.
Right. Yeah.
Right? What we paid in May. We're seeing offers where the buyers are saying, I'll pay all the taxes due as of the closing date. So they're taking on some of your property taxes. Mm-hmm. They're paying some commission. I've seen an offer where a buyer wrote in there, we'll pay the commission. Yeah. So it's not even the price, but it's the commission. The net of the seller is the same.
Yeah.
So why would they offer to do that? You're not dealing with appraised value then. Mm-hmm. You're not dealing with the potential risk on an appraisal. You're paying some of the seller's costs. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing offers with that. 3 years ago, you'd have never considered that.
Right.
We're seeing it now, though. So from a strategy standpoint for a buyer, what's the whole point to all of this? Make your offer as attractive to the seller as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And what do most sellers think about? What's my bottom line? Mm-hmm. So if I'm willing to pay some of their costs, I've improved their bottom line.
Yeah, sure.
They may not be selling at the higher price, but they're getting a higher net number because I'm paying some of their costs.
Because that is, the last one, the paying the seller's closing costs. I remember first-time home buyer that you ask
seller to pay your costs.
Exactly.
Total reversal. Total reversal. But as an industry, we're adapting and adjusting to what's going on. We're advising buyers and sellers to adapt to the marketplace. And it's where we are today. Yeah. It's not where we were 5 years ago. Yeah. It's where we are today.
It's just been it's been an interesting time for sure.
An interesting time, and that's why working with an agent that's doing it full time makes sense because it's different than it was 5 years ago.
It's constantly changing.
Different than it was a year ago.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Hey, your contact information?
Sure. Website's lakes-realtors.com. Phone number is 574-834-1233. Check us out on YouTube. We're out there.
Yes. All right. Very good. Our mug's on TV. Love it. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.